I'm not gonna lie, I hate this time of year. Thanksgiving and Christmas have never been my favorite. Don't get me wrong, I love planning Christmas Eve set list, 4, 5:30, and 7 p.m. on the 24th. See you there. But when it comes to Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day, I always just get overwhelmed with sadness. My family doesn't really do traditions, and we all kind of have a rocky relationship with each other, so my mom will usually come up here, but for the most part, I spend those holidays alone in my room or at someone else's house, at someone else's table, eating someone else's turkey in someone else's chair. And in scripture, there's someone a lot like that named Mephibosheth. In 2 Samuel 9, it tells the story of when King David, he was the king right after King Saul, and Mephibosheth was Saul's grandson. So King David, he grabs his servant Ziba, and he says, will you find anyone who is in the bloodline of King Saul, anyone who is left in the bloodline of King Saul? And the servant tells him that there is one person left, and it's Mephibosheth. So King David sends for Mephibosheth, and he says, bring him to me, I need to talk to him. So now usually in that time, whoever was king had the right to destroy the bloodline of whatever king came before him. So King David had every right to destroy the bloodline of King Saul, to kill Mephibosheth. So when Mephibosheth gets a knock on his door from King David's people, he's terrified, thinking they found me, they're going to kill me. But instead, what David does is he invites Mephibosheth into his house. He invites him to his table to have a meal with him. He invites him to the table that his own sons are at, that he's at. And he didn't just invite him, he sought after him and said, I'm going to be gracious and I'm going to show the love of God to this person. And I'm going to invite him to my table. And I think that's a lot like us in Jesus. We have nothing to give God. We are poor. We're lame. We don't have anything to offer him. But he still invites us in. He gives us a place at the table. And more than that, he prepares the meal. He pulls the chair out for us, and he sits with us, he looks us in the eyes, and he talks to us. And in this season, the season of Thanksgiving, this week as you're going into Thanksgiving, I can't think of a better reason to be thankful. That the God of the universe, the Alpha and Omega, the King of Kings, looks you and I in the eyes, and he calls us his children. What a reason to be thankful. And when we can fix our eyes on that, on the promise of God, we can begin to be grateful no matter what situation we're going through or what's happening around us. I'm sure there's going to be drama this week within our families, within our friends. At the table that we're at, there's going to be something happening that we're kind of not excited for. But when we fix our eyes on Jesus and the promise that he's made to us as his children, we can begin to be grateful through every season.